The News 4 Rundown starts now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the News 4 Rundown. I'm Sean Yancey. It is Monday, August 3rd. Here's a look at some of the stories we're following for you tonight. Virginia's primary elections are much later than voters are used to. How the delay could affect tomorrow's turnout. Plus, the competition is heating up out in Ashburn. The Commanders are back on the practice field, getting in some real-life reps. What the players had to say about being back in pads for the first time this summer. Then, 3 local high school students are being hailed as heroes after they helped a family in distress. The life-saving decision they made that was all caught on camera. But up first tonight, we're going to take you down to the National Mall. The Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool is still a construction zone. Last week, federal prosecutors dropped felony charges against the former Olympian, who they accused of damaging the pool's new liner. In the court filing, prosecutors admitted the liner was most likely damaged because of a botched installation. Well, today, the lawyer for the Olympian spoke out about the decision for the first time. As Mark Seagraves reports, the lawyer welcomed the move, but still has questions about some of the government's claims.
The story has gained international attention. After more than $14 million was spent to change the color of the reflecting pool, the new liner began peeling off. President Trump blamed vandals. 4 people were arrested, including a 3-time Olympic athlete who was the only one charged with a felony for damaging the reflecting pool. David Hearn has insisted upon his innocence from the day he was arrested. The Olympian says he stopped by the reflecting pool during a bike ride back in June. Hearn says he only touched a piece of the pool coating that was already detached.
Free Davy Hearn!
Outside the D.C. courthouse last month, Hearn vowed to fight the charges. At the time of the indictment, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro saying in no uncertain terms, Hearn caused the damage.
He damaged the pool.
But then on Friday, Pirro's office filed this motion with the court seeking to dismiss the charges, writing the damage was not caused by Hearn and others who had been charged, but was instead a result of flawed installation by the contractor. In the court filing, prosecutors wrote the Department of Interior had not told them about the issues with the installation. It was not until after these documents were produced that USAODC first became aware of the information showing that the damage was the result of a botched installation and not vandalism as initially represented by the Department of Interior. Hearn's attorney, Norm Eisen.
It's very hard to accept that they didn't know about it until the Interior Department told them more recently.
On social media, President Trump pushed back at his prosecutor. Eisen tells News 4 it's possible Hearn could sue the federal government after the charges are dropped.
All options are on the table. For now, we're focused on getting the case dismissed. The counsel team is actively discussing what, if any, next steps will follow that.
I asked Eisen how Hearn is doing through the experience and whether he'd been subjected to any adverse attention, including threats.
We're not going to get into that at this time. There'll be a time and a place to discuss what the experience has been like for him. It has been difficult, as you can imagine, but he's keeping his attitude of fighting back strong. As you can imagine, when the most powerful people in the world say you could be going to prison for up to 10 years, make false claims about you, that's profoundly unsettling. But Davy Hearn is a 3-time Olympian, multiple times a world champion in canoeist. And he is maintaining a fighting attitude. What other choice does he have? He cares about this case, obviously for himself, but it's of the utmost importance to our democracy to fight back when innocent people are targeted by the regime. So his attitude is to continue fighting for justice.
In the district, Mark Seagraves, News 4.
Now, as you heard in Mark's story, the president strongly disagreed with U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's decision to drop those charges. Today at the White House, he doubled down on his belief that vandals caused the damage. He also criticized Pirro and the judge that heard the case.
The judge was extremely unfriendly to Jeanine And frankly, I think she choked because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
In a previous post on a social media network, the president said there may have been some contractor difficulty, but maintained vandals caused the major damage. He said he believes the repair work will be completed within the next few weeks. Here's a look at some of the other stories we're following tonight. New video of the chaos that unfolded at the Westfield Wheaton Mall last week. Watch closely. You'll see a man get up, open fire, and then take off inside the mall. A bullet hit a 13-year-old in the ankle. Police charged 17-year-old Diego Rafael Tercios Avalos with the shooting. They said a security guard stopped him inside a store until police arrived. The teen is now being charged as an adult. A 16-year-old boy is dead tonight after someone shot him at a car meetup in Woodbridge, Virginia. Prince William County Police said the shooting happened around 2 a.m. Saturday on Crossing Place after a large car meet. The teen died yesterday, but investigators are not releasing his name because he's a minor. We are still working to get more information from police about a shooter and a possible motive. Also in Virginia, Stafford County Police fired a patrol sergeant after the FBI arrested and charged him with receiving child pornography last week. Today in court, we learned that Justin Foreman allegedly had more than 300 files of child sexual abuse material on his personal phone. Prosecutors said they are still reviewing hundreds of files seized from his house. A judge denied his request to be released before trial. Tomorrow, Virginia voters will head to the polls for their primary, and the outcome of the election will determine who will be on the ballot for November's midterm election. U.S. House seats are on the line, as well as some local offices. And depending on which party you're voting for, your ballot may include choices for Senate. This year's primary is much later than voters are used to in Virginia. Earlier this spring, they approved a plan to redraw the state's congressional maps. But the state Supreme Court overturned the plan, which then prompted lawmakers to delay the primary. So how could all of this affect tomorrow's results? WTOP Radio Scott Gelman joined us now to help us answer some of your questions. Scott, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I think right off the bat, a lot of people are wondering, how could this later primary, I mean, a lot of people are on vacations or out of town. How could this affect voter turnout?
Experts that we spoke to say that all of those things that you just described are probably going to lead to lower turnout than usual, although perhaps normal is what one expert predicted for a primary election in Virginia. And you just described how we got here, and very few people right now are talking about politics or elections, let alone a primary election. They're on vacation. They're getting ready to go back to school. This is just, quite frankly, not something that's on the minds of Virginians in the month of August. It's usually supposed to be in June, as you mentioned. And so experts are expecting very low turnout. But also because of how polarized the political environment is right now, some are suspecting that maybe there could be on par with what a Virginia primary looks like, despite the fact that we're talking about this here 2 months later than usual.
Let's dive a little deeper. In terms of that turnout, does this delayed primary hurt or help one party over the other?
Well, the consensus is probably not from some of the experts I spoke to, and that's because everyone is just a couple of weeks or months later here in the summer. But we are closer to November. There have been an increasing number of political storylines out of the White House. You ran through one of them affecting folks here in the D.C. region just a couple of minutes ago. So all of that is top of mind. But the consensus among some of the experts that I have heard from is basically folks who are going to vote in the primary are likely to vote in the primary, whether it's as it usually is in June or whether it's here in August. But regardless, expecting about an on par turnout, particularly given the political polarization that is existing in this moment.
Scott, let's talk about the big races. Which ones should we be watching for tomorrow? And can we expect these results to come in on time? We know we have seen delays in other states. What are your thoughts for this tomorrow?
Yeah, a lot of the big races are a little bit outside of our listening area, your viewing area, and those are Virginia's 1st and 2nd districts. And starting in Virginia's 1st district, you have a field of Democrats trying to unseat Republican incumbent Rob Whitman. The consensus there is the Democratic establishment is backing Shannon Taylor. She is the Henrico Commonwealth's attorney, the top prosecutor down there. So she has emerged as the front runner there. And then the other really competitive race to keep an eye on is Virginia's 2nd district, and that is where there's a battle to unseat Representative Kiggins, and you have several folks competing for the chance to do that in November there. Now, locally, around the D.C. region, there are also a couple of pretty interesting storylines. For one, Virginia's 7th district, Eugene Binman has been a target of President Donald Trump, has been a target of Democrats and Republicans in Congress. And so there is now several folks, Republicans, trying to unseat him there in Virginia's 7th. And then a little bit closer to home, even though there's not any surprises expected in these couple of races, Sean, you have Don Beyer, who is facing several Democratic challengers. He's a longtime congressman. The consensus is he'll probably win convincingly, but still something significant there. And lastly is Representative Suhas Subramaniam finishing his first term. One expert I spoke to said that even though he is now a little bit of a well-known name, having been in local state government and now representing the area over there in Loudoun County in Congress, that first-term incumbents running for re-election are always a little bit of a risk for a challenge, and so there are some challengers there. All of that we're going to watch unfold tomorrow night, and of course all of that could have a big impact on the balance of power here come November.
Indeed, and we will be watching. WTOP Scott Gelman, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you breaking that down for us tonight.
Thank you.
And stay with News 4 for Virginia primary election coverage tomorrow night. We will have updates as those results start rolling in right here on the News 4 Rundown. And then look for a full recap on News 4 at 11. You can also receive up-to-the-minute updates online and in the NBC Washington app. Maryland lawmakers took up a congressional redistricting at a special session today in Annapolis. Democratic lawmakers want to ask voters to change the state constitution to make it easier to redraw congressional districts. Well, the question would appear on the November ballot, but would not impact the midterm elections. Republican lawmakers opposed the plan. They called it partisan gerrymandering and an attempt to get rid of Maryland's only GOP member of Congress. News 4's Darcy Spencer has the latest.
A public hearing held to get opinions on a ballot initiative that would change Maryland's constitution and make it easier for Democratic lawmakers to redraw congressional maps.
Our democracy is the strongest when we trust people to participate, engage, and help shape the future of our state.
For me, it is simple common sense that we Democrats do what we can, when we can, to oppose the Republicans' multi-pronged and deadly earnest effort to render our votes irrelevant.
The hearing, at times contentious. One man tried to criticize Senate President Bill Ferguson, who blocked congressional redistricting during the session earlier this year.
It's a self-preservationist play, and he's coming out here and he's saying, we'll do whatever it takes. We'll do whatever it takes to stop irony in the White House.
Turn off his mic. The special session was called to address President Trump's efforts to redistrict in red states across the country to increase GOP numbers in the U.S. House in hopes of maintaining a majority.
We're back now to be able to ensure that our elections should be in the hands of the people of Maryland.
There is no map on the table, instead a referendum for voters to decide if they want to change the rules on drawing congressional districts. It could pave the way for Andy Harris, the state's only Republican elected member of Congress, to lose his seat through redistricting.
This is frankly democracy on the front lines. I wish we did this months ago, but it's better late than never.
Ferguson, who drew criticism from the governor and his own party for blocking redistricting this year, is supporting the referendum, particularly after the U.S. Supreme Court gutted part of the Voting Rights Act.
We have to give Marylanders a say in this really important moment for American history.
Republicans blasted Democrats for the move. They say the issue is being forced through at the last minute, close to the deadline for getting it on the ballot, that it's an attempt to silence and disenfranchise the GOP, and that issues like affordability are not being taken up.
We're going to ask the General Assembly to go on the record to talk about gas taxes, to talk about the affordability crisis.
We are here. We're here to fight this. We're here to make noise. We're here to make this as uncomfortable as possible for the Democrat supermajority.
The House was set to take up the legislation this afternoon. Multiple lawmakers tell me debate could stretch into the night or even the early morning hours. The special session will wrap up on Wednesday. In Annapolis, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
3/5 of lawmakers in the House and Senate must approve that measure for it to pass. Now, if it passes and voters approve, it could lead to a new congressional district map in time for the 2028 election. Coming up here on the News 4 Rundown, major changes coming to the Nats. Plus, could the second leg of horse racing's Triple Crown be moving out of Maryland?
And we saw a beautiful end to the day out there on our Monday. And our Tuesday is looking really, really good. But rain chances, yeah, they're coming back in. I'll show you when in the 10-day forecast coming up.
Developing tonight in the world of sports, the Preakness Stakes could be in limbo. That's according to NBC affiliate WBAL up in Baltimore. The station reports Churchill Downs and the New York Racing Association announced a 6-race thoroughbred championship series that starts in 2027. That schedule does not include a race at Pimlico Racecourse. WBAL is reporting it's not immediately clear how the Preakness and Pimlico might be affected. Last month, the state of Maryland purchased the intellectual rights to the Preakness. Also developing tonight, the Nationals traded all-star pitcher Foster Griffin to the Cleveland Guardians. Griffin had a 12-3 record this season and allowed a little more than 3 runs a game. The left-hander was selected to baseball's All-Star game back in July. He previously played for the Kansas City Royals and Toronto Blue Jays before he came to the Nationals this season. The Nats will get 3 pitchers and an outfielder in exchange for Griffin. Commanders training camp is underway in Ashburn. They kicked things off this morning with an annual milestone. Team insider JP Finley reports this round of practice had some pop to it.
There's a natural flow to training camp. There's some excitement when the guys get back out on the field. But after a few days, you're like, man, when are the pads coming on? Well, today, they did. These guys were out there. You saw a lot of good collisions, a lot of good work between the offense and the defense. And for the players, they get fired up too.
First day in pads, we were ready for it, ready to just come out and start flying around and hitting each other. But it's been great, man. A lot of competition out here. That's really all you can ask this time of year.
These are the dog days right here that we got to work, and just stay in tune with everything that's going on around here.
Just a great day for us to compete, finally, get to play real football. So we're all out there flying around, talking smack, so it's been really good.
It's always fun just to get back out here and get the little thud out, get the juice flowing. So it was fun, man, just to see the guys fly around the hip.
Pads, it's just a different game. It's no more 7-on-7, no more two-hand touch. It's straight physical, and I love it.
It's not a secret what Washington's biggest problem was last year, an abysmal defense. So they hired a new guy, Durante Jones, to turn things around, and the players are buying in.
He's talked to me. He's giving me a lot of, freedom and understanding, picking my spots, when to take chances and stuff like that, which I haven't, usually had in the past, except for the Chargers. But, I appreciate that, and I'm going to continue to hone in when I can take my shots and, make plays.
Even after the whistle, they're going at the ball. One time today, KC got me after the whistle. But yeah, them boys are coming, and it's just nice to have that competition to just raises up another level of competition.
Ball is life. That's what we preach around here. So just trying to get that ball out any way possible. Punch, rip, interceptions, get off the quarterback. However we can get it, man, we're trying to get it.
And for as many good plays as the defense has been making, the best play of the day, that was Terry McLaurin going up high in the corner of the end zone, tapping his toes for the touchdown, sent the fans in attendance into an uproar. Fans are going to be here all week. Let's hope there's more cheers like that. Cover the Commanders in Ashburn, I'm JP Finley.
Thanks, JP. From football fans now to tennis fans. They got the chance to score free tickets today to the Mubadala DC Open. Sunday was supposed to be the last day of the tournament. Those matches were moved to today because of all the storms. The storms forced the women's final match to be suspended early in the second set. The men's final took place after the women's event. People flocked to Rock Creek Park Tennis Center this morning when organizers announced the ticket giveaway.
I came here with my 2 family friends who gave me the ticket to come here, and so I just lucked out.
Breakout star Alexandra Ila became the first Filipino to win a WTA singles title. She beat top-seeded Jessica Pegula, and Taylor Fritz beat Rafael Jodar in the men's final. They all had fun playing out there, and thank goodness the weather was much better today. Let's check it now with Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Doug Cameron. Doug?
It was a great day. A little bit humid early in the day, but now we're seeing some lower humidity, drier air moving on in here, and a really nice Monday evening across our area. Not a bad way to start off the work week, although some of us have seen some rain today. 88 degrees, dew point 67. Feels like 91. Earlier today, though, that dew point was in the mid-70s, so it really did feel a lot more humid across the area. Temperature-wise right now, 84 degrees Gaithersburg, 86 at Leesburg, 85 Culpeper. Notice to the south, Fredericksburg and Patuxent River cooler. That's where the rain is is out there, at least where the rain was last over the last few hours. Now it continues to move to the south. Heat index, though, still in the 90s. 91 D.C., 82 in Manassas, 90 in Culpeper. Heat index will not be a factor during the day out there on your Tuesday. So that's good news. Now, the rain that we saw earlier was right along I-95, and then it's worked its way to the south all day. Right now in through parts of southern Maryland, but really not much going on even down that way. A few rumbles of thunder down toward the south of St. George Island. We're watching the storm system to the north. That one moving away, bringing with it the showers that we saw today, but now bringing with it some cooler air and some drier air to the south. Another area of low pressure right there around Atlanta. This will work its way back to the north and give us a chance of rain starting as early as tomorrow night, but really into the day on Wednesday. So here's tomorrow at noon, a gorgeous day for lunch outdoors. No issues there at all. Tomorrow night, no problem at all. And then here's 8 o'clock. Notice the rain to the south, working its way through overnight into early Wednesday morning. This is now 7 a.m. on Wednesday. You notice the shower activity there during the day on Wednesday. Here's 2, 3 o'clock. You notice showers, thunderstorms scattered during the day. But anytime we see these storms, they could be quite heavy. I'm not expecting severe weather, but I am expecting some very heavy rainfall. So that's what we'll be tracking as we look out towards the day on our Wednesday. Tomorrow, though, beautiful, mostly sunny, partly to mostly sunny, not nearly as humid, a high of 86 degrees, and that should be around the heat index. The humidity works its way back into on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 87 degrees on our Wednesday with a good chance of area-wide showers and storms. It will not be raining all day, but we'll see a couple of periods of rain potentially. 90 on Thursday, 91 on Friday. We get into the weekend, we're talking a heat index around 95 to 96 degrees with a chance of rain just about each day. Some of those storms, once again, could be on the strong side. Heavy downpours being the biggest factor.
Finally tonight, 3 Virginia teenagers are being hailed as heroes. They dove into a lake to rescue 3 kayakers who capsized. The teens, all high school students in Culpeper, said it happened in the blink of an eye. As Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder reports, police are crediting those students with helping save 3 lives.
Gavin Kane was on the second green in his high school golf tryout last week when he and his friends heard it.
I had a birdie putt, and all of a sudden, all I heard was this little kid screaming.
Culpeper police were running to Culpeper Lake near the golf course for the report of capsized kayaks. 2 men and a young child were screaming for help 50 yards off the bank.
We were like, oh, we got to do something like right now. These people are going to drown. There's this little boy in he's about 3 years old, right? And he's in a life vest about 3 times. He's in an adult life vest, and he's like he's bobbing in and out of the water.
Gavin and his teammates, Andrew Tuggle and Jackson Castro, dove in and swam to the kayakers. Tuggle grabbed one of the kayaks and brought it back to the 3 who were clinging to the other kayak just as it was going under.
When Tuggle brought it over, I put the little boy into the kayak, and then we got Jackson and me helped one of the dudes into the kayak and gave him a paddle, and he went back to shore.
Everybody okay? Yeah. Oh,
the
good.
teens rescued all 3 kayakers who told police they can't swim. Police say that area of the lake is nearly 20 feet deep.
The fact that they just immediately, without hesitation, made their way into the water and rescued these folks who were in distress speaks volumes for them and the kind of people they are.
And now being hailed as heroes. The 3 teens will be recognized at the next town council meeting.
Thank you guys for your help.
I didn't expect it to go I didn't expect it to be this big of a deal, you know.
In addition to saving 3 lives, did you sink that birdie putt?
I lipped out.
No! But he did make team captain, and he's made his entire community incredibly proud. In Culpeper, Drew Wilder, News 4.
Proud indeed, and thank goodness everybody's going to be okay. Well, that will do it for the News 4 Rundown on this Monday night. Make sure you join Jim Hanley and me back here for News 4 at 11. Have a great night, stay cool, and we'll see you back here later tonight, everybody. Good night.